And next up, we have Andrew McConaughey, and I'm going to read you Andrew's bio here. He is co-owner of McConaughey Counseling in Alpharetta with his lovely wife, Tracy. For over 20 years, Andrew has specialized in working with couples in various stages of their relationship, including couples who are divorcing and those who are divorced and need co-parenting assistance. In any stage of a couple's relationship, Andrew hopes to help them develop the healthiest relationship possible. Andrew has been a member and served as the board president of the Collaborative Law Institute of Georgia. He is currently a member of Divorcetown USA and serves on the board of the Amicable Divorce Network. And Andrew, it's such a pleasure to have you here. You and I have worked on many cases together and helping clients, and we know that there are better ways to do things. And by the way, folks, I'm going to speak a little bit after Andrew on how another a couple of other options that folks have. Tracy touched on a few of them, but we are going to share with Andrew about Andrew's process that we call the upside down divorce. And kind of funny how we were having a conversation and that came up one day, but it really is a different way of going about it. And the reason that I brought together different speakers is because we want you to understand that there's not just one way to enter divorce, although most people only know the traditional way of lawyering up and duking it out. There are many other ways to go about it. And so, Andrew, I'm going to let you speak now to how you help serve clients. And if all the rest of us would turn our videos off so Andrew can have the big screen here, I appreciate that. And thank you, Andrew. Take it away from here. Can you hear me? Your voice isn't on. No. It looks like let me turn you on and off. Let me see if that will work. Don't we love technology? I'm not sure what's happened here. We could hear you earlier. Let's see. Marcella. Yes, help. We can see you're mouthing things here. I'll tell you what, Andrew, why don't you try signing in and out? And I'll speak for just a moment here. I'll turn myself back on. Not sure what's happening, folks, but welcome to the world of doing.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
There we go.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. So Tracy and Marcella, if you can shut off yourselves here so we can give Andrew the full screen. Or Marcella.
Lisa, you can make him the main presenter with the little white box on the top. Just click him and he'll get big.
There we go.
Okay, there we go. Y'all can hear me and see me okay now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, wonderful. So thanks so much, Lisa. One of the things I appreciate so much about Lisa and Tracy Ann is that we all really have the same goal, and we're coming from different professions. I'm a therapist, and Tracy Ann, of course, is an attorney, and Lisa is a financial expert, but we all have the same goal, and that is to help couples have the healthiest divorce possible. And we all definitely agree that the traditional way of doing divorce is just not the best way. It can be extremely harmful, not only for people's pocketbooks in terms of finances, but just the emotional cost to families is just can be terrible. My wife and I have been working with families for many years and all kinds of family situations, and we have seen some of the devastating effects of traditional divorce processes. So we have been coming up with a different way to do it, and both the amicable divorce process and the upside down divorce process really has the same goal, and that is to help couples have the healthiest divorce possible. The upside down divorce is unique in that it brings in the attorneys towards the end of the process. It begins, actually, it's specifically for divorcing couples who have minor children and they want to prioritize their children in the process of divorce. So the first thing they would do before they contact the attorneys is they would meet with a counselor who is specifically trained in communication and empathy, child development, working with families, and helping people collaborate. So this is a neutral party these counselors also trained to help the divorcing couple develop a parenting plan. Tracy Ann mentioned that a lot of times parenting plans in traditional divorces are developed through the attorneys. Basically, one attorney puts over to the other attorney a suggestion or an idea of what should happen, and then they go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And we have the both parents in the room together. By the way, this is a virtual situation also. I've done this many times over online situations. So you don't have to necessarily be in the same room, but it goes, step by step through the parenting plan. And while the counselors and the parents are developing the parenting plan, they are also learning how to communicate with each other, how to communicate with their children, how to collaborate with each other. What we hope for is that even through the process, they'll, number one, have a parenting plan that they both feel good about at the end. And they also, through the process, have learned how to be good parents, co-parents, as they get through the post-divorce situation. So we're thinking long-term about their relationship, and that's what's the most important thing. What I always tell couples when they come to see me for a parenting plan is that my number one client is their children. So I'm always giving them information, what I think is best for their children. And then my number two is for them. And they, most of the time, in fact, all the time, appreciate that, because that's why they're doing this process, this upside down process. So once they have the parenting plan done, and only once they have the parenting plan done, then I pass them off to a financial expert like Lisa. So she is also a neutrals, and she will help them develop their financial agreement. Again, traditionally what happens is if each parent has their own attorney, then basically attorneys will go back and forth, trying to negotiate the best financial settlement for their client. In both in the upside down divorce process, what we're trying to do is collaborate with both of the individuals for both their parenting plan as well as for their financial agreement. So both people feel pretty good about both of them, because the worse they feel about those things after they get divorced, the more animosity is going to be between the relationship. So we also, one thing that's very specific about the upside down divorce process is that we finish the parenting plan first before we go into the financial part. We want to completely separate the parenting, what's best for the children, and the financial part. A lot of times parents will believe that, well, my spouse only wants the kids so much because either they don't want to pay as much or they want more child support. So there's this suspicion about, do they really want to be with the kids as much as they say they do, because maybe it's financially driven. So that's why we want to finish the parenting plan first before we even talk about finances. Finally, once the couple has a parenting plan in place, and they also have pretty much a financial agreement in place with Lisa's help, then we would refer to them with either one or two attorneys like Tracy Ann in the divorce, the Amicable Divorce Network, to look over all the agreements, the parenting plan and the financial agreement, see if there's anything that needs to be tweaked or changed or whatever. And then they would file the divorce documents with the court. It's really important, and Tracy Ann mentioned this earlier, and I want to reiterate it, that you use an amicable attorney who will not blow up the process at that time, because if you can imagine, the couples worked really hard to develop these two documents and agreements. And some attorneys, unfortunately, will look at it and say things like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you agreed to this. Or, do you know you can get more money from your spouse than you have it down here? Or, I can't believe that you're offering the other spouse so much money. And so you want to be really careful at the end. And that's why we have a network of attorneys that we refer specifically to, like Tracy Ann, because we want them to be in the amicable spirit. A couple of advantages of the process, and I've mentioned, that number one, parents can learn how to communicate better, even through the process of the divorce process. Also, the divorce can be highly emotional and stressful. It's really difficult. So what you want is for there to be a neutral who's developing your parenting plan and a neutral who's developing your financial plan, because really quickly it can feel like opposing sides, especially if there's opposing attorneys who are fighting for their client. And what we want to try to encourage is collaborative, and that there's not opposing sides, that basically the parents want the best thing together for the benefit of their children and for the benefit of themselves. So in a nutshell, that's what the upside down divorce is and divorce process is. If anybody needs any more information, you can always contact me through my website, mcconaugheycounseling.com, or send me an email. I'd be happy to answer any follow-up questions. That's the upside down divorce process.
Thank you so much, Andrew. And again, this is another option for people who want to come into taking control of their divorce and doing it in a way that works well for their family. There is no one right way to divorce. Every couple needs to decide for themselves. So we're happy to be giving you options here, whether it's amicable divorce process, the upside down divorce process, or the process that I'm going to share with you here in just a minute. And Andrew, if you want to put your information in the chat, and of course you can find Andrew and Tracy and myself at divorcetown.com, divorcetownusa.com, and we'll be putting that information up here. All right, Andrew, we'll see you in a bit.